October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a worldwide annual campaign involving thousands of organizations to highlight the importance of breast cancer awareness, education and research. During Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the aim is to get as many people as possible involved in raising awareness and funds for the research. In South Africa, it's estimated that 1 in 29 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Well, to discuss further, I have with me in studio a very inspiring woman, Henrietta van Kramberg, a breast cancer survivor. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
A woman of courage, I should say. Now, you're heading an organization to drive awareness and empower women as well, I believe. Tell us more about that.
I'm, in fact, honored to be a brand ambassador of the Breast Health Foundation. There's about 5 of us chosen this year. And the Breast Health Foundation resonates with me because the founder of the organization was my breast specialist during my treatment of my diagnosis. Her name is Carol Ann Ben. She's now a professor. The organization is headed up by the Chief Operations Officer, Louise Turner. They go out to all our main cities in South Africa, specifically Johannesburg. They've also got a mobile clinic in, Sebokeng, where they go out to the clinics and speak to people on ground level about breast cancer. We've got a beautiful breast cancer clinic in Helen Joseph, as well as the Baragwanath Hospital. So yes, I'm very honored to be part of that organization.
I must say I've been privileged to meet quite a number of breast cancer survivors, and each one of them have come across as courageous, strong, empowered women. But I've always wondered what the journey was like. How challenging has the journey been for you since the day you were diagnosed with breast cancer? Take us back to that day.
Yes, ironically diagnosed, well, the call came on 26th October 2010, aftermath of the World Cup. South Africa is still euphoric about what we had just experienced. And I was expecting a call because 2 days before that I had gone to a radiologist at the Breast and Bone Center in Ilovo. So I was expecting the call after 2 o'clock. I get this call and she says, the sample we took from you was in fact malignant. And I said to her on the phone, okay, what are the next steps? And the reason why I was so pragmatic and practical about it is because there was a whole awareness campaign throughout the month. It was all we were talking about. I had researched it just to be informed. And also, I had known that these little lumps were in me for quite a while.
So how did you discover these lumps? Take us back to before you actually went for the tests.
So it would happen once or twice every month that, as women, we are either intuitive of our body or not.
I'm not.
And we technically are inclined to, but some of us just, we don't bother.
I wouldn't even know how to discover if I had a lump, to be quite honest.
So, and that's why they say most of our partners find our lumps, because our partners are usually
touch and feel
with our boobs. I was fortunate that my body's always told me way in advance what was wrong. Even when I was pregnant, 8 weeks into it, it gave me signs. But I felt the lumps in my breast.
Are the signs obvious?
Not always, no. They are related signs and then direct signs. Related signs could be fatigue, for instance, or headaches, unrelated to breasts.
Sure.
But when you find out they were signs. In my case, I actually felt the lumps in my breasts. On the one side, they were not sore, but they were there. On the other side, they were sore. They would come and they would go. And I would start having conversations with them eventually. Hi, you back? And I didn't even notice what time. Until a nurse felt these lumps and said to me, actually, they are worrisome. And she referred me to a specialist.
As I sit here, I would feel very nervous about this.
If I
had to discover lumps and
then find out a professional.
Etc.
Yes, I was not. Strangely enough, I was not ever. I think it's because I kept reading about it and what medically how advanced we have become as 21st century humans, that it's not always a death sentence. I knew this from the beginning. Also, I'm very technical. And then I had survived much bigger things than breast cancer.
Yeah.
So I literally just took the information and said, let's absorb the information, analyze what are our next steps, and see what are the best options.
Sure. Very interesting. What advice can you offer to women who are watching this right now thinking, how should I approach regular checkups or the possibility of lumps?
So breast cancer is not in my family, which means, the thought never crossed my mind in all my life. However, if you are aware that breast cancer is in your family, it is best to rather get yourself checked out. Go to a specialist who will then advise you based on your family history what you should do. In other words, should you come annually for a checkup? What age should you come for a checkup for? Because the ages that you should really start worrying about breast cancer, whether it was in your family or not, is after 50. So before 50, if you know that it's in your family, rather get a specialist opinion around how you should live your life.
Sure.
Secondly, if your lifestyle is not conducive to health, in other words, a sedentary lifestyle, bad foods, etc., your risks become more probable, not higher, but more probable because of what we ingest at the moment. These affect our body and how our body responds. Lifestyle like stress, lifestyle issues like stress definitely contribute to us getting diseases that we wouldn't ordinarily.
It's amazing how stress contributes to just about any kind of disease
Anything.
possibility.
Diabetes, heart attacks, etc. But definitely also breast cancer. And so what I'm saying to all our viewers is know your risks, understand your risks and who you are.
Sure.
Therefore, you are now able to make a little bit more informed decisions. If breast cancer is nowhere on your radar, when you start understanding what you are putting yourself into, if you live a sedentary life, etc., you just decide to live a better life, a healthier life.
I want to come back to your story. I'm sure following the discovery, the process must have been quite lengthy, complicated.
Yes.
I believe you've lost a breast as well. Is that always the situation when you discover lumps, that the possibility of losing a breast becomes quite high?
It does become high. Because I have medical aid, very fortunate. I used to just take advantage of this medical aid, but when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I understood in what fortunate position it put me. Because I had 3 opinions. The first guy, I didn't like his bedside manner, right? So I have no idea what's happening to me.
Sure.
I walk into his surgery and he says to me, you're going to lose your breast, your hair, and you'll definitely not be able to have children. Those are not the things that I want to hear.
It's too hard-hitting.
It's too cold. So I went to another person, and by this time I had read a little bit more, and I understood that this might be a journey that is intrusive. And I had to understand, is this the person that I want to walk this journey with?
Yeah.
I met a doctor who sat across from me with a cup of coffee in her hand, with her feet on her couch, on a Saturday afternoon, who said to me, you have options. We can fertilize your eggs, we can put them away until after the chemo. This is not a cold. Let's look at what's the best treatment options for you.
So you found the right approach that works for you. And I think that's such priceless advice, inadvertently, that you're offering to our viewers to ensure that you're actually comfortable with the practitioner that's serving you.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous to actually put yourself out there and say, let me find the best person who's going to serve me in the best possible way.
Absolutely. It is our right. It is what we should do for ourselves. Because now you go through a journey, which mine was 2 solid years of 5 operations, 6 months of chemo, endless consultations with numerous specialists. And you want that journey that is so intense to at least be manageable by people that you can relate to.
Yeah, I admire your dedication to the cause itself, that you're going all out there to put messages out on breast cancer awareness and to really give solid advice, and your courage again. I hear that you just came back from base camp at Everest. Why did you do that, Henrietta?
I must have lost my mind. Maybe the chemo
I'm
ate
thinking,
my
is
brain.
she crazy? No offense, I'm just kidding. Because of the tempestuous nature of Everest and the stories that we hear. But what did it mean to you personally to have taken that journey?
I was approached by the Breast Health Foundation to join a few breast cancer survivors up Everest. And I thought to myself, you know, this is not on my bucket list. This is not what I want to do. Listen, I have already proven to the world that I'm a kick-ass chick and I'm very strong.
I like that.
Yes. I didn't have to do this. I called my loved one and they said, you don't have to. And then sitting back for a while, they said to me, we'll do it in April going into May. And May is a very significant month for me because I lost my baby, my son of 2 years in May. So, and I love doing something amazing during that month. So I thought, why not climb the tallest mountain in the world?
Did you actually climb the mountain?
We went all the way to base camp, yes.
Okay, to base
That
camp.
was
So you're a
5,000
kick-ass Everest chick.
Yes.
And you're a trailblazer breast cancer awareness leader.
And a mum.
And a mom and a
best
business
friend.
analyst. That's very inspiring. What did this journey do for you personally? Perhaps, I'm assuming it reshaped you as a woman in a way as well.
Absolutely. You know your limits, you understand your limits, and then you say, you know what, I can do everything. I didn't know that my body, because chemo is a very intrusive treatment. It goes right into your bloodstream. And during chemo, for those 6 months, I would always love to gym, but during chemo you don't have that energy.
Look, it takes a lot out of you as well.
Everything. It literally takes everything out of you. So I didn't know that my body was compromised. I started training for Everest 5 months before we went, and I was challenged all the time.
I think a challenge is important because it pushes you forward. You've got to set goals so that you can get past certain hurdles. So
That's right.
Yeah, I see your point now, yeah.
I had a partner who, and that's one thing that I need to also highlight, that throughout the cancer journey or losing my son and even Everest, all the amazing peaks in my life and the valleys in my life, I always had amazing people around me. So I had a guy helping me train throughout my 5 months prior to Everest. And he would not just train me physically, but also mentally. You think you're strong and you've overcome everything, and then you go to the next level and you understand that actually, like you say, I can push myself more. And thanks to that journey, I was able to, during the 12 days, you train 5 months to only walk 12 days on this mountain, 8 days up and 4 days down. And during that time, oh my goodness, are you challenged?
Yeah.
There's snow that you didn't train for. It just goes higher and higher. There's altitude that compromises your health. Those are things you cannot train for. And mentally you have to overcome this. And I came back understanding that I'm even physically stronger than what I realized.
Well, you've certainly raised the bar for yourself.
I have, yes.
And thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story with us. I have no doubt that it will serve many people out there in this situation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.